Welcome back to week 3 of Secret Life. The chaos continues this week, tensions are rising, and the secrets are only growing more difficult. Now with Yellows on the server, we see a new role at play. Once per episode, Yellows can guess another player's task. If they are correct, that player fails their task. With half of the server failing their secrets and multiple deaths, we won't waste any time jumping in to this week's recap. Poor Jimmy lived up to expectations this week, managing to escape a zombie with his one heart, only to die to a drowned with a trident.
Oh god, oh gosh, she's getting closer, I gotta go. Oh no, there's a drowned. No!
He joins his fellow ally, Martyn, in Yellow Life. Once known as the Big Men, they are now calling themselves the Big Dog Woof Woof Alliance. Fans of Etho SMP will be delighted to hear the property police are back together. Coincidence? I think not. Jimmy's secret was to rebind his movement keys without anyone noticing the odd behavior. Surprisingly, he completed his task without anyone being suspicious. Perhaps he should try all those keybinds for the next MCC, #top20player. Although he was mere seconds from failing, as he almost spilled the beans standing next to the button. Bless him. Mumbo and Grian managed to peer pressure Jimmy into wasting a guess as a Yellow Life.
What was it? What is it?
Go on.
What is it? You know it.
5,
You can figure it out.
Wait!
3,
Don't pressure!
2,
Your
1.
task is to always be with people and never alone.
No, that's wrong.
Bless him again. Martyn snuck around the server attempting to catch everyone in their task, making up rules about legal interrogation as he went. His task was to find the person with the exact same task as him, completing a secret in the nick of time. In the meantime, he was opening a new venture to give out fortunes to the other players.
Does the word twins mean anything to you?
I'm not giving any more hints.
Okay.
But equally, I have no clue where that came from. That is so far out of left field.
Oh, no.
Big dogs, woof woof, need a small doghouse to live in, so Martyn set to work on the cutest build the Life server has seen yet. The big dogs, woof woof, are currently more successful than the property police ever were, with Martyn racking up a successful call-out of Tango's task, forcing a fail.
I, in the little word of the task force, would like to invite you to sit there. And not just you to sit on that bed, but your imaginary friend that you have to pretend you have for the task this week. What?
Wait.
Tango's imaginary friend, Torchy, was less than pleased about the fail. In fact, he was the devil on Tango's shoulder the whole episode, suggesting rather aggressive actions.
Okay, I should stab him right now, shouldn't I?
The Heart Foundation picked up a rather big win this week. We now welcome BigB to the group. Thank goodness too. I don't know if we could have handled another episode of those two Billy No-mates. BigB hasn't fully abandoned his creepy backrooms though. I guess we'll just have to see what becomes of them. His task was to repeat conversations with others and get someone to claim deja vu. In the end, he failed, but managed to confuse just about everyone else on what his real task was. We should start calling him the gaslight of the server. Skizz had the other half to Martyn's task. However, in a moment of weakness, he divulged it thinking Joel had the same secret, earning him a fail for the week. Although the question begs to be asked, since he would have had to tell Martyn his task in order to be sure they had the same one, wouldn't Martyn have been able to guess the task before Skizz could press the button, ensuring no matter what he would have failed? In other news, Skizz has big plans for the Heart Foundation, wanting to build a machine that will randomly choose the player to receive the heart donations for the week, including a blinking heart and everything. The catch is that Skizz has to be the one to do the redstone.
I'm all in. I love the idea. I have one condition.
Okay.
You have to do all the redstone.
Oh no. The Foundation has their first sworn enemy. Impulse, in an attempt to complete his task, had to cause a player to lose hearts accidentally. In the process, he caused Skizz to lose 20 hearts. Yes, you heard that right. 20 hearts. Impressively, Skizz instantly called him on his task, causing Impulse to fail.
Well, we found out what Impulse's task is. To get somebody to lose X amount of hearts.
No, it was not.
Jem and the Scott are leaning into the band vibe. Expect a hit single next episode. Scott had the wholesome task of getting 3 players to say I love you back. This was basically a normal day for him, and this task was completed rather easily.
Bye, Skizz. Love you.
Love you too.
He bravely joined Gem in the Nether for a resource gathering mission. At one point, he remarked that the gas tier they earned was pointless. Mumbo is rolling in his sideway house right now. Gem was in the Nether attempting to gather blaze rods and ender pearls to open the end portal. She told on herself for not fully completing her task last week, so she had to re-roll for a hard task. She was successful this week, which was good, since she lost a life in the process thanks to an Enderman. No! To ward off any other Enderman, her and Scott wore pumpkins, completing her Headless Horseman cosplay. Cleo and Etho are still together, much to it seemed everyone's surprise on the server. Cleo's task was to narrate a nature documentary unbeknownst to the subjects. Mumbo and Bdubs faffing about made that task an easy success. She was wheeling and dealing throughout the entire episode, and while her and Etho may be in an alliance, as she described,
we barely speak to each other, we're just sort of like ships that pass in the night.
Etho's task was to convince someone you have the same task as them, which would have been easy to do if he met up with Skizz or Martyn. However, he decided to re-roll for a hard task. His new secret was to cause someone else to fail their task. He almost had it too, however, he didn't make it to Martyn in time to tell him what Tango's task really was. Ultimately, he failed his task this week. He was successful though in convincing people his task was to splash everyone with water. Classic Etho. Mumbo had the hardest task yet, to not let Scar take more than 3 hearts of damage, and literally almost failed immediately.
Ellen took another chunk of hearts.
Oh,
Mumbo, I can't keep a heart for the life of me, Mumbo.
are you joking?
Now he understands what Cleo went through last season, and Grian before that. In the process, he took over Scar's part-time Uber job in an attempt to save him hearts. Along the way, he became a getaway driver and opened a detective agency with Lizzie. He accidentally convinced everyone his task was to get rid of the camel. If only it was that simple. He did fail spectacularly. Mumbo was responsible for giving us these incredible moments.
Get good, Scott. Get good.
Well, are you
He fell out of the seat of my VW bus as we went round a corner as he was playing, and
Really?
fell on the floor.
I refuse to believe you're this bad.
Lizzie had a tough episode too. Her task was to go along with anyone's suggestions for her, ultimately leading to her death down the helter-skelter to a skeleton.
Nothing can go wrong. Everything's going wrong!
She died and still failed her task again this week. Bdubs seems to be the unofficial leader of their group, calling for a vote, and they're officially the Mounders. It only took 3 episodes to decide on a name. His secret was to slip in hip words throughout the conversations.
Oh, that's okay. That was pretty poggers.
While I'm not sure he understood how to use some of them correctly, he ended up succeeding in his task. And what Bdubs determines is a success is a little questionable. How no one noticed him constantly opening his book during conversations, I have no idea. He did the math and realized he needed to make his world smaller. And still did the math wrong, running out of the materials again before the end of the episode. The Round Mound cult gained 2 new members this week, Bdubs and Pearl. Pearl's secret was to get someone to throw them something 5 times within a conversation without her picking it up. She may not have picked up the item, but she picked up a success this week. We were already well acquainted with 5 AM Pearl, but we got to meet 9 AM Pearl this week as well. Turns out she's basically Shakespeare by that point in the morning. Scar couldn't care less that Mumbo seemed like he wanted to protect him, running off to complete his task of stealing torches with great success. He bribed many a people for their silence while he worked on his task. He forgot last episode that you aren't allowed to wear a helmet on the server, which is funny because everyone else did in fact notice. They just decided Scar probably needed the extra protection. His courthouse is officially open. The punishment for a lost trial is a hit from his wax stick, and in true Scar fashion,
I just be glad I didn't call it the bang stick. So
hell has officially frozen over, as Scar has in fact made his own enchanter without stealing one. We'll see if he remembers that he promised Lizzie access to it. Grian had a tough task. For every heart of damage Joel took, Grian had to take the same. So naturally, Joel purposefully lost 2 hearts immediately. He attempted to force Joel to be his best friend, slightly unsuccessfully, although he did ask for his love with Lizzie watching.
Oh, sorry.
Your
Hey,
wife
Lizzie.
is right there.
Sorry,
dude.
we're just having an intimate moment.
Your wife
She's
is right
so
there.
creepy.
Yeah.
He finally admitted that his base was an absolute confusing mess, so he burnt it to the ground. Eventually. Then he decided to build, and I quote, a friend-shaped house while building an egg. Is this the return of Poultry Man? Thanks to Jem's task, Grian was able to have this epic moment of laying down the law.
Then you cannot re-roll.
No. Goodness gracious.
What?
He ends this episode maybe with some friends gained? Unclear. Joel also had the task to get someone to claim deja vu. However, after many attempts, and Grian constantly following him around, he re-rolled for a hard task. His new task was to MLG water bucket from 100 blocks up in front of the entire server. And in front of the entire server, he failed, and we gain another yellow life.
I'm just going for it. I'm just going for it.
Joel! No!
Joel is having a real rough go of it, losing quite a lot of hearts even off of his yellow life, ending the episode on 8 hearts. Well, there you have it. Quite the exciting week. We end session 3 with 4 deaths and 9 fails. Yes, you heard that right. Over half of the server failed their secret.
Hey! Get off the stage!
You are a failure!
Many laughs, many tears, and many secrets later, we are set to see the chaos continue for week 4. And we end this week on this rather important question from Jimmy.
Martyn, I was thinking, by the way,
That's a bad start.
are we furries?
As always, if you like the recap, hit that subscribe button to not miss next week's, and leave a comment on who you think the first red life on the server will be. Who knows, maybe in the next episode we'll see one. Make sure to go and give all of the Secret Life content creators a follow so they know just how much of an impact this series has on the community. Until next week, XOXO Treble.